Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
I hear you loud and clear, Coach Jay. Thank God it's Friday.
Thank God it is
I
Friday,
need a rest.
Coach. Same here. It's been a week. It has been a week, but it is Friday. We're going into the weekend. We made it, everybody. We made it. Uh, whether your accounts made it or not, hopefully they did with good risk management and trading this week. But we made it, right? And we can look forward to another week of trading next week. But welcome to At the Buzz Hour Market Recap. If this is your first time here, I'm Coach Jay. That is Coach Paul. The goal of this segment is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity, see how we could have taken advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. This is our first time meeting. I'm Coach Jay, been a Topstep performance coach since 2023, been trading for the past 13 years and in the futures markets for the past 6, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share my experience and maybe war stories and hopefully assist you to become a better trader.
Awesome stuff. Thank you for that, Coach Paul. You're all our audience. Let us know how your week was. Were you up on the week, down on the week? Anything that you learned from this week? I gave you guys my lesson for the week. Watch your clip size. Make sure you're in the right asset. That's my lesson for the week. But Thomas Teal says tough week, but still alive in the account. Good stuff. All praises due. Good stuff. Let's take a look at these markets. As far as news goes today, we had Michigan sentiment come out, and then that stayed white for a long time. I don't think we had any other planned news outside of that. Tariff talk was kind of quiet today. We did hear some news about the ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, getting closer to a deal there. But we had University of Michigan sentiment come in lower than expected, 57.9. Forecast was 63. The last time we saw that number come in as a miss, the markets sold off pretty strong. I don't know if you guys remember, but it was a Friday where we were down like 1,000 points in the NASDAQ. And most of that move happened after the Michigan sentiment number came out. Today, negative news, but maybe the market's so beat up that it's like we can't go any lower. Uh, we've sold all we can. So negative number, pretty negative number out of Michigan. But the market responded with some buying, maybe a relief rally. Anything you saw on the news front, Coach?
Well, I don't know how it affected. We made new lows for the day session right off that number, only the wick and short covering. I can still define this as short covering began, and it was relentless. But yeah, the Ukraine news is some kind of old now. Really isn't having much effect. But that Michigan sentiment number was pretty vicious.
Yep.
I don't know why they hate the Wolverines, but wonder what Michigan State thinks. Anyway, other than that, I think this market is tired of the volatility.
Yeah.
And this to me is a classic bear market rally. It just happens quick. I'm just glad I took one trade and lost a little. I'm in a sell mode.
Yep.
So other than that, the news not
too much there.
Oh, one thing we didn't mention
What's that?
was the agreement on to extend the budget.
Okay. Yes, no
Last
government
night that
shutdown.
came out, and that was the low of the day, right off the get-go. Um,
Good point, coach.
and so I think that was the biggest news. I was just I was watching it last night. I'm like, "What?" Um, it it was a bid, you know? I
Yeah,
said, "Well, something must have come up." It wasn't peace on earth, but it was the
for
budget
sure.
deal.
Shout out to Josh on Nordsiak in the chat saying some clean urgency last night in the NQ. I traded that and locked it up. Yeah, I think right off of that news that Coach Paul is talking about, we saw that urgency trade kind of set up on a 1 minute, 3 minute, whatever you want to chart on the Nasdaq, and we took off from there. Let's get into the charts a little bit. We had 35 different markets we can trade with top step accounts. Today to the downside, we had copper down 0.92%, wheat futures down 0.98%, and corn down 1.4% for our biggest percentage mover to the downside. To the upside, we had the Nikkei up 2.26%. Micro Ethereum futures up 4.02%, and micro Bitcoin futures, our biggest percentage mover to the upside, at 4.95%. To talk about our big four, we had crude oil up 0.95. The S&P is up 1.78%. Gold down 0.2% after making a new all-time high last night. My stream deck is not plugged in again, but it did make a new all-time high. And then the Nasdaq up 2.11% on a day again that it did not feel like a 2% move. A lot of the move when we see these big percentage days has been happening in the overnight session. We were up about 1.2% by the time we opened up for the New York session this morning in the Nasdaq. Uh, and outside of the initial move in the morning, it was a pretty range bound, kind of choppy rest of the day after about 10:30 Central Time. Uh, since it's the end of the week, Coach, let's look at a daily chart. Tell us what we're looking at here on the daily. I'll pull up your moving averages again. Let's get these back up here the right way. What are we looking at here, Coach?
Well, we're looking at, balance this week. Believe it or not, we're finished higher than, Monday's opening. Um, that this could be a hook bottom. Um, let's keep an eye on this. Let's go to a weekly real quick.
All right, there's your weekly.
Yeah. Um, believe I looked at that and I'm like, really? Is that? I mean, is that all the range we had?
It
That
didn't feel
was-
like it. It did not feel like it at all.
right. So we're the and volatility has gone up.
Right.
ATR last, and I had it measured on Nasdaq last night was 580. Um,
900
now
points for the week normally. Well, ATR right now for the weekly is 900 points. This week was 600. Very interesting.
so it's finding what? It's finding some balance at the lows.
Yep.
Pay attention to last week's high. I think that um, actually, we could come right back, but right back to the 200-day moving average, and then we'll find out for reals if this is going to continue lower. But right now, I am shut off the sell side. Um, so look at that. That was kind of, I was stunned when I saw that weekly. I was like,
Yeah.
that can't be right.
It
And
felt
it
like
was.
a
It didn't
way. I mean,
feel like it.
there's just a lot of intraday movements, a lot of overlap. We saw those daily ranges. And I think we just saw the full 500 points, every day on both sides, right? The market, it was a two-sided trade pretty much all week, besides Monday, with some pretty big ranges. So felt like we went somewhere, and we really didn't. consolidated in this range. The one thing I'm seeing on the daily, coach, is this 220 moving average getting ready to cross below the 200. And again, if we zoom out, the last time we had a cross was in the beginning of 2023 to the upside. The last time we had a cross to the downside was in 2022 in February. And we keep talking about this, but this cross,
And look at that.
go ahead.
Go ahead. But go finish that, and I'm going to say something else.
This cross, although we did have price kind of chop around here for a little while, this cross led to uh the rest of the year in 2022 being under that 200 daily moving average. Uh Not to say that that's going to happen here, but if we do get this cross and see, some consolidation under this 200 moving average, interesting times. I'll say it that way. Go ahead, coach.
Well, look at that cross again, and let's go back to it. Okay, well, it didn't just go straight down, did it? Look what
Nope.
happened when it went back and tested it. So that could happen here. That
Uh
looks, I mean, look, it
which
went
could
right
which
back
could
to it.
mean, wow, this actually looks almost exactly the same, right? If we look at
Well,
where we are right
yeah,
now, doesn't that look like this week?
yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's my point. Um, Now, when we look at we're day traders, right?
Yep.
Um, but the trends are trends. Um, Being prepared. There's nothing to stop this market from ripping right back to the 200. Could happen within
Sunday night.
Sunday night. um, but just be aware that's very possible. It's because it's so. It's like I call it the beach ball effect. You
Yep.
know, it's being pressed as soon as it you let it go, it explodes back up. Um, yeah, and I know that someone said, "Wait until everyone is bullish again at the 200."
Right.
Yeah, if how it reacts, but in the present, yeah, this this looks very like if we just put that there, you would you would think it's 2025.
Yeah, this looks very similar to what we have right now, where we had, remember the 3 daily dojis we had at the top? These candles
Yep.
look very, very similar. We broke out, we sold off, ATR increasing. This is the same exact pattern, that we're seeing right now. We had basing. This is a Friday. This is insane. This is a Friday right here. This is a Monday.
Yeah, that's it.
This is the exact same pattern that we're seeing right now. Literally the exact same thing. 3 daily dojis up here, we sell off,
Keep
ATR
that.
is increasing. This is a Friday. I might just buy one
I think we
Monday
have a theme.
Monday Monday at 6 p.m. and set my risk. It's not
And,
financial advice.
and by the way, someone just said Fridays are what happens on Fridays from an institutional point of view. The institutions that to have to buy stock, which institutions, Fidelity, you name the big ones, they're not there to sell stock. In these big breaks, they wait till Fridays to buy it on sale.
Yep.
They're not coming in to sell it. They have when we talked about this before, their mission is to buy stock. Um, they bought it early on bearish news, right? They don't care. They're like a robot. Buy now. What they'll do, it's called window dressing. Wait to the last day, last hour, and put in big orders.
Yep.
And that's where you get that's what they call window dressing. So it seems that we had that. That's why watching last week's high, and we not just the price, by the way. Don't get if it closes in a half hour chart, then we could just rip. The hard part about these is buying it like today, is buying it when it's 60 higher. Like that's hard to do.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
if your mindset is, well, it's 60 higher, but with these large ranges, that's really expected. So wow, let's keep those charts. You heard it here first, folks. um, so hit, or not even just hit, smash that like button.
Smash the like button for sure. I know what I'm going to be looking at. We did the scouting report a little backwards, where we're already looking at next week. But I mean that pattern is kind of hard to ignore. Also, what's this white line here, Coach? On the 30-minute chart, the 200 moving average. This is the first significant close we've had above the 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart since we started to sell off.
There it is. Yeah, I said that. Um,
Interesting stuff for sure going on here.
and we closed above it. That's wow. One- So
Times are a
now
changing.
we know our yeah, we know if we understand our role. As we're there. Coach Jay put it so perfectly, not to swim in front of the shark. The shark came in today, uh, and this says the footprint of institutional buying. And like someone said, I have a hard time trading on Fridays. Um, yeah, there's markups. Um, Starting last night, where we got the news, they're going to extend the budget.
Yeah.
Look at that. I mean, look at the breakout last night.
We haven't seen urgency like this in a little while to the upside, right? Where if we've seen it, it's been to the downside. This is, I mean, obviously we've been selling off for a month. This is the first time we've seen this to the upside, and it happened right off of the Globex Open, continued through Asia and London, and obviously through the New York session. Um, whether it's short covering, new buyers coming in, new money coming in, because we've had a pullback almost 10% from the all-time highs. Uh, they didn't stop buying it all day, Coach. Even with the negative Michigan sentiment number, which is right here, and we'll go down to a shorter time frame and look at that. Uh, Volume held for pretty much the entire day.
Okay, there's the algorithm. I can't say it
Yeah,
enough, right? They got the news they wanted, or they maybe they didn't even care about the news. Hey, it's cheap. we're-
but
or the shorts are like, okay, this is, you know, it may seem like we had this crazy down week. We saw we were just going violently up and down,
yep.
like the Charlie Daniels song "By Way of Omaha."
Hmm.
Um, they decided that, you know, the VWAP. Let's say it's not just the technical tool. It started with execution program for large institutions. So that very well could be started last night. That's what I see it as. Um, Now I I trade one side, and boy, to me losing $150 today was one of the best trading days I've had.
Trying to sell it.
It trying to sell it. Oh, I
Yeah.
would, when just I sold it once. I but just stop. Actually, I did buy it once, and I said I'm not on a buy side. I let it go without me.
Hmm.
Now I can turn around and say, "Oh, that was dumb." No, maybe, but I have to follow. If you're a trader, you have to have a plan.
Yep.
Plan was to get to be a seller.
It didn't really
Um,
present great opportunities to sell.
yeah, I sold it and lost a little bit.
So
Right.
let's take a look at what
So,
happened. So we have
um,
the New York session open here. Initially, it looked like the buy program was on right away, right? We were going to continue it in New York, but we have that sentiment number coming out, a negative number. But like we said, coach, they could not hold it down. So maybe you caught some of this short here. Shout out to Tony, who was on Fast Markets this morning, was short from about 578, took some profits into the number, and then, the number gave him the rest of the profits that he was looking for. That was the best short of the day. Um, I saw some traders saying in the chat, "Oh, he got lucky." Sometimes when you're good, luck falls on your side, right? Where he was already short, he was short 3 contracts from up here, knew the number was coming out, and said I had to scale out of that position. Was already out 2, and then the number gives him another 100 points. Um, but his stop was already defined, and he wasn't going to lose on that trade. That was the the best short of the day. And then right after that, coach, there was where do we buy it again? We have that Michigan sentiment candle here.
well,
We go ahead, coach.
yeah, we were just talking about that in the green room. Is that a classic J trade?
It definitely is. Took a little while to get there. Took about a 45 minutes almost after the sentiment number to close above that high. Um, but sometimes what doesn't happen is as important as what does. Michigan sentiment prints, and we could not make another low from this point. Uh, and we've been talking about this for months, but we have the news print. It's higher volume than the open. We attach a VWAP to it, and it's range bound market until it leaves to the upside. Yeah, this made it tough to sell too. Not the
Um,
cleanest buy either. Maybe if you were trying to buy in this chop, there's a lot of overlap. But once we clear the high of that candle,
well, it was really hard to buy because someone in the chat made a great um, recency buy. Yeah, I got in good early, got out too soon. Recency bias killed a huge trade. Now, what is recency bias? This has been getting pound. I mean, like we said, that it's been a huge break. It's hard to buy it. It was still what, even after that break. By the way, what was Nasdaq was still like 150 higher. It was still pretty a lot higher on the day. So, um, but when we said, when does that selling fail? To me, one it was when we close above that candle. That's the J trade. I know we really didn't close above it until, yeah, wow,
took a
about
while,
an
almost
about
40
a,
minutes.
about an hour, 40 minutes.
Yep.
All right. Um, Now being attached to just price, that's to do. That's how you can suffer from recency bias. But order flow, yeah, okay, it's worth. If you have a plan, you measure your risk. How much am I willing to pay to get in this trade? And this reflects the volatility. So either is it new lows, two ATRs,
2 ATR on a 30
a
minute
close
at this
below
high. What's 37 times 2? Math on a Friday. 74?
for 74. Yeah.
74 points. Your stop. If you waited, right? So if you were patient enough to wait for a close above the high, say you took it here, you go 74 points. That stop is so far out of the way that the market forgot about these prices. And you get your 2 to 1. Uh,
Now 74 points.
there's a lot
That's
of points.
even with the micro. So in a micro, it's 100, but basically 150.
Yep.
It's this is the 3-minute chart, right?
Correct. So,
That's what makes it so hard because it's so volatile, and if you have been getting hit buying it, that's what makes it really hard.
yep, for sure. Seven, if you could afford it, and again, this 75-point stop is parachute stop, right? With the suggestion from Coach Paul, you don't necessarily have to let the market get all the way there, but you do get, depending on your trade location, pretty close to a 2 to 1, right? So you're looking at 150 points, and if you held it all day, you got a 2 to 1. You had to wait until the end of the day, but you got 80% of that within a half an hour if you were patient. Um, and again, this is a reminder to myself as much as it is to anybody else. You only really need one good trade a day, uh, and we see these setups happen all the time. I think where I need to be better is just waiting for and being patient enough for them to set up. I think I did a great job of it for like a month straight. Got a little bit impatient this week, um, and gave some money back. But you really only need one good trade a day, and if you're patient, it's a damn good trade. Uh, Coach Vince says, "Yes, sir. One and done is the best. Sometimes is the best for the day. 100%. Right? Let me wait for one setup, take it, make my money. I don't care what else happens. If I can make 150 points or close to it, 130 points in a half an hour, go do something else with my time." Um, got some questions here, Coach. Anything else you have on the equities, or do we want to move on to other markets? We got a Japanese yen request. Just looking at other markets, the S and P
Yeah.
did the same thing. Close above that high, test it again. We're out of there. Um, it's the same pattern, regardless of the markets that we trade. The Dow, very similar. Close above the high, we're gone. Anything else you got in the equities, Coach?
No, I'm good.
We've said it all.
I'm tired.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. We're gonna get out of here soon. Maybe we'll end it a little bit early. It is Friday, and the weather's starting to turn a little bit nice. So
Oh, because
go ahead.
there was a question there about the celebration. I
Yes,
don't, I don't know, but I've been hearing rumors there's going to be a party at Chuck E. Cheese.
$20 on a Chuck E. Cheese play
We
card
get
for everyone.
we don't get any of that information until it's announced.
Correct.
Um, so
But
it'll come out in time.
stay tuned to Topstep TV. The team is going to announce it. It'll probably be sometime next week. But I can't guarantee that either. Coach Paul and I, we just work here. We don't make any of the decisions. But gold last night made a new all-time high, 3017.1 on the futures, and then sold off about 30 points from there. Gold continuing the rally. We're closed under 3,000, which we
Mm.
talked about it a little bit yesterday. Wouldn't be surprised at a pullback, for making all-time highs. I think Hoag and I got short this morning on the opening range trade, and we talked about it being a little uncomfortable, being short gold with it rallying so much. But sometimes, you have to take the trade that's in front of you, right? Depending on the time frame that you're trading, it could either work or it doesn't, right? We talked about the potential for a short in gold. Hoag likes to look at the 1 minute opening range, so we broke to the downside, um, and the trade was valid, right? It worked. We got stopped out once. I think when we reviewed it, we said the stop was a little tight on a but it was 2 ATRs on the time frame that we took the trade, right? We took it on a 1 minute, 2 ATRs on a 1 minute, we got stopped out. I think the one thing we probably could have done was just take the trade again when it set up, um, because of this rejection up here. I saw this swing high up here, and I was like a second away from asking Hogue, could we just put the stop up there? But we defined the risk, we took it, it's a loss. We don't try to prevent losses, we just measure them. I think we could have taken that same trade again, because gold felt like it needed a pullback after, running almost $100 in 2 days. Anything you got on gold, Coach?
Yeah, let's look at the daily again.
Let's take a look at the daily,
Or
and
did
shout out
we?
to Danielle Oliver in the chat. She's the true VIP of VIPs at Top Step, and if anybody knows what's going to happen for 150K, it's Danielle. When we start to see Danielle in the chat a little more, just know that it's coming. Danielle, thanks for joining us. Let's look at the daily here, Coach. What do we got going on?
Um, is that a doji?
Close to it, yeah.
Oh, so we got over 30,000 or 3,000. God, I really need to take a
3,000.
break. Um, um, interesting that we didn't really explode today. Um, and most of that, watch out. Um, I would have expected a little more follow through than that.
Yeah.
Um, let's let's watch that. We haven't gotten that break from all time highs like almost immediately. Um, I think Monday morning or Sunday night open is going to be very important there. I don't think it can take any selling. So let's mark. I would mark today's low. Um, and then
29.89
really,
today's low.
yeah, and it has to. If it could closes below that level, I'm going to try and sell it
Yep. Fall back into this
now.
range, back down to 29.50s potentially.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I was surprised to see that when I earlier today. I'm like, that's all the range we got. Was it just? I mean, I would expect a little more than that.
Yep.
Um, but and anyway, that's a day trade. Overall, this is we're at all time highs. Um, but it could use a correction here. Got it. One day it was just too easy to buy it. Like it was like if you weren't in it, it was like a dream. Like wow.
Right.
But yeah, I was a little surprised that it didn't get some continuation. Um, maybe petering out, but man, I think we're going to see a lot of action Sunday night.
I agree with you, Coach. Let's take a look at maybe one more market, and then we'll wrap it up. We'll give everybody some time back on their Friday. We can consider this. It's not summer yet, but maybe summer Fridays, spring Fridays. Uh, what other market we want to look at? We got a Japanese yen
Oh,
question here, Coach. Jason Shapiro has been talking about the first risk-off trade. I don't know who Jason Shapiro is. You know who Jason Shapiro is? Uh, would
uh,
be the
yeah,
Japanese yen. If we can go over that today, that would be grateful.
yeah, Jason Shapiro is a trader analyst.
All right. Do you want to go over? I'm just going to refresh your video real quick here, Coach Paul. Uh, all right. It was a little blurry. We cleared up, hopefully. Uh, take a look at the Japanese yen, Coach. What are we seeing here?
All right, let's start with the daily.
Here's the daily.
All right, there's the 200. Um, there's 20. I see why Jason is saying that. This has had a good rally. Now I've been buying this and losing money. Um, but if it closes below that 200 in the 20 turns, we could go right back to making like we do in the yen. Go go make another low. This is a really important level. Um, let's look at the half hour.
Take a look at the half hour. Let me do something here as well. Go ahead, Coach. I got a half hour up here for you.
So that's turning. Uh, there was a trade. I got long above it, and it's struggling up this. up- it's it's struggling. It can't hold at 200. But here is a little different. We have the 20 and the 50 below it.
Yep.
So this is uh, not strong rally, weakening. So I can see. Um, let's watch. Actually, I'm going to watch the. I traded, and I know where that 200-day moving average is. It's right underneath this. Um, this needs to get new buyers soon, or if the risk is on, the yen has been rallying as the U.S. stocks have fallen. Um, I believe that's what he's talking about. We could see a nice move to the downside.
Coach, thank you for that. I don't have any other markets that I want to talk about. If there's anything else that you have, Coach, or any questions that we have in the chat, what I will say though, we get asked a lot about what are we doing for 150K. One thing I know motivates Danielle for sure is feedback from our community. We got 525 people watching here. Let's see what we can do to get the likes on this video up to. I'm gonna put some pressure on you, more than 50%. Let's see what we can do to get the likes up to 300, and maybe we'll get an answer from Danielle sometime next week. Danielle, I'm sorry if you need more time than that, but let's see what we can do to get those likes up. And coach, if there are any other markets that you want to go over, let's do that. We got a question from Thomas Teal that I'm going to throw to you as well. How do the bonds and yields affect or correlate to equities?
Cost of carry. Um, Equities rely on reasonable rates, interest rates. Cost of doing business is cost to carry. Ray Dalio, who's been really bearish, he's not been shy about it. If you don't know who Ray Dalio is, he's one of the largest hedge fund and managers. And what he's managing over $100 billion. And he's been calling out interest rates could explode to the upside. So think about if you're running a budget and you have debt, your credit card. Now it started off with an intro of 0%, and all of a sudden, bang, it's 21%. All right, your costs of living just went up large. Well, the U.S. is running a deficits. Well, I think it's 122% of GDP. Now, if who buys that debt? Well, large institutions and other countries. If they get, if they wanted to, they say, we're not buying your debt. They don't have to go to war and say, we're not buying your debt. Well, interest rates could get out of control in a hurry. So that's how it affects. It's the cost of carry, the cost of borrowing. Um, and you could see, when I first started, it was Paul Volcker. He took short-term rates to 15 and 1 to 5%. People were getting in T-bills
Wow.
15% a month. Well,
Right.
businesses choked. But it was Paul Volcker who saved the the economy because it made money real again, shook things up. Um, but this level of debt, I was shocked. I didn't know it was at 122% of GDP.
Yeah.
That think about running your house debt. What do you mean? I'm worth I'm going to say I'm worth a $500,000, but my debt is 650,000.
Yeah.
It's called, in other words, it's called insolvent. So yeah, it's big. So it's something to watch.
Stuff. Thank you for that, Coach. We got one more question here, and then we're going to wrap it up from Boogie Boo 2. Do you recommend avoiding Monday and Friday for trading days as a beginner? I've been staying away from Friday. I wouldn't necessarily recommend, you know, any day to not consider. If you are looking to kind of build your schedule and you don't want to trade every day, and you find that your numbers don't really work well on Mondays and Fridays, then that might be a good suggestion. Um, I do like the idea of a beginning trader maybe not trying to trade every day, because we definitely do need breaks. We need time off, because we're not always going to make the correct decisions every single day. But I think it's specific to every person, right? If your numbers looked really good on a Monday, but you're just avoiding it because it's Monday, I feel like that's not enough information. And some beginner traders might do really well Mondays and be terrible on Tuesdays for some reason. What would you say about that, Coach?
Um, I think you should just focus on executing your trading plan.
Yep.
Um, the whole focus is on the plan and executing it. Um, find the opportunities that you've designed for your entry and exit, and focus on that. Um, you can make or lose money in any day that ends in Y. So you also, on the other side of the coin, you might be missing out on opportunity.
Correct.
I just focus on your plan. That's all. And I've had that talk with my VIPs today, and that really hits home to me again. For my own journey is when I try to make money every day, I got turned upside down. Um, Till I learned, all I'm doing is going to focus on executing a trading plan that has a expectation and a back test that it works.
Yep.
All right. And then, then you're ready. And that's what's great about Topstep. You get to do that without losing tens of thousands of dollars.
Yep.
So
Good stuff.
uh,
Uh,
that's my advice.
Thank you for that, Coach. Coach, any words before we go into the weekend?
Yeah, get some rest. Um, Maybe spend an hour reviewing your trades to see if you were following a plan or you were following your fear. Um,
Good
Hone
point
up
there.
on that plan and be prepared. And that's it for me. Uh,
Awesome.
Pass it to you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. Do something fun this weekend. Enjoy some time off the charts. I know I will, especially after a week like this one, and be ready to go next week. Want to thank everybody for joining again. Even you, Jeremy Kent, if you're still listening. Want to thank you for joining as well. Uh, Enjoy your weekend. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button on the way out, and we will see you all next week. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Bye.
Enjoy it. Bye, everyone.